Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Tanks, and welcome today to me finally getting around to doing an Object 907 tank review. This obviously has been coming for a long time. I just haven't got around to it, and I thought now is a great time with the next campaign being announced within a couple of weeks. A couple of people might want to see roughly what this tank is all about. So yeah, I'm going to do the tank review on this vehicle. We're going to be going through the stats, comparing it to others, everything like that. There's going to be two lots of gameplay at the end. I haven't got an ace tanker, but if you want to see an ace tanker on this vehicle, I will link a replay in the description, another video on my channel, and honestly, that is one of the best games I've had in the 907. Really close, tense game. So if you want to watch a really good game in the 907, watch that. I think I have another couple of replays as well, which if I remember, I'll link. If not, just have to find them on my channel. But the two sets of gameplay that I've got are very good demonstrations of what the 907 is actually all about. So yeah, we'll jump in. If any of you as well don't want to watch the beginning part of the review, same as always, the link, the timestamp, sorry, to the gameplay will be in the description, so just simply click through. Now, for those of you wanting to know about the 907, the Object 907 is a Clan Wars reward tank. I believe as of right now it is honestly the only way you can get it. But with the campaign coming up soon, if you can get yourself into a decent clan, you're definitely in with a shot of getting this thing. It is an absolutely awesome tank. In my opinion, one of the best all-rounders in the game. And I know I usually leave all this until after the review part, but there's no point me even disguising that. It is one of my most played tanks. I think it's my third most played now, and this will become my most played tank at some point. It just will. One of my highest average damages. My excellence isn't that good, but that's just because it's just such a hard tank to play. But honestly, one of my favourite tanks, if not my favourite, and one of the best all-rounders in the game. Like I said, the only way you can get it is by completing in a global map campaign as part of a clan, and then it costs bonds, I believe. So make sure that you have enough bonds so that if you need to, you can pick this thing up. Anyway, let's go jump into Tanks GG. I will go through a comparison and compare it to some others. That's what comparison is, Max. Congratulations, you're stupid. I'll go through the stats of the vehicle as well. So into the comparison, guys, and we've got the 907 on the left. I'm going to be comparing it to the 140, but then I've got the K91 and the STB just as reference as well. I'm not really going to be comparing to those just because you can see, but directly comparison is going to be to the 140. Obviously, that is where the most, it's the closest tank to this thing, and it's where most comparisons are drawn with the 907. What's better, the 907 than the 140? Hint, the 907, but I'm going to show you why. And where I think that the 907 is actually worse than the 140, because contrary to popular belief, there are actually some parts of the tank that are worse, and it's really annoying when I hear everyone say it's just blatantly better, because it's not. I've done a whole video on that. If you want to see me rant for 30 minutes about people talking about the 907, I've got a video for that. So, straight off the bat, obviously both guns are the same gun. They have slight different like handling and everything like that, but the guns are the same. 100mm gun, 264mm pen, 320 average damage, pretty bog standard. The 907 does have slightly better DPM at 2,953 base compared to 2,909, which is not huge, but obviously when you add vents and all improved equipment and stuff like that, it's percentage based, so having a little bit more base gives you a bit more when it comes to the top end. Other than that, pretty much the same. Fantastic shell velocity on the tank of 1,535 on the APCR. The premium rounds are heat and they're 330. Again, not surprising to anyone. Ammo capacity, 45 shells, is not actually that great. Especially, like, you can do 8, 9, 10,000 damage in this tank quite comfortably. And when you do, you're right at the bare bones of your shells compared to 50 shells on the 140. It would be nice to have 50, trust me. If you want to see an example of that, the replay that I mentioned in the intro to the video, if you go through the description after this video, obviously, you know you want to watch this first, and have a look at that. That is actually a really close, tense game, and that ammo capacity does come into play there. Gun handling-wise, yes and no. 2 seconds aim time, which is better, but the dispersions are slightly worse, which means the aim time is pretty much the exact same. Dispersion, so accuracy, the 907 is actually worse by 0.01, which, again, percentage based, when you vents and stuff, it can make a little bit of a difference. So overall gun handling, I would actually have to say that the Object 140 is better. I know that it's got slightly worse aim time, but the dispersions more than make up for that. And then the 140 just has that little bit extra accuracy. One of the main differences between the 140 and where the 907 is actually a lot weaker than the 140 is in the fact that it's only got those 5 degrees of gun depression, not 6, which means you really do struggle in a lot of positions to find gun depression for the tank. Obviously, fully traversable turret. Mobility-wise, and this is where the 907 once again is just better. Same speed, forwards and backwards. Engine power is just better, 30 horsepower better. Gives it a better horsepower per ton. It does get equalised slightly by the terrain resistances, but not enough for the 140 to catch back up. The 907 is just slightly more mobile. Obviously, they both have the same top speed, so you're not going to get there much faster, but up hills, things like that, you do notice a slight difference. Turret traverse, tank traverse, both ridiculously good. The turret traverse on the 907 is honestly insane. You can combine it with a tank traverse, you can spin this tank round and engage targets so fast. It's absolutely crazy. Armor, I'll come on to in a second. Health, just got 100 more health, which is very nice, especially as well when you consider that the 907 is using a lot of competitive modes, and if, say, you're taking 5 907s or 5 140s, having 100 extra hit points, 100 extra hit points on 5 tanks, 500 extra HP, that's nice, basically, for playing the same tank, so definitely a good point for the 907 there. Same view range, 400 meters, it's distinctively average at tier 10, better radio range, but I don't think anyone ever cared. And slightly better chance to be set on fire, but take that with a pinch of salt, because that's the chance to get set on fire with the engine. I think in the 600 games I've played, and the 500 games or so in the 140, I don't think I've really ever been set on fire through the engine. It's nearly always the fuel tanks in Russian tanks, because they're front mounted. So this fire chance is pretty much the same across both tanks, because it's more likely that the fuel tanks are going to go up, and not actually the engine. Onto the armor, and this is where the 907 again is just better than the 140. It's better and it's worse. The hull is better. You've got this V-shaped hull, which means that you actually have to aim at the 907. If he's angling or anything like that, you actually have to think, I can't just auto-aim at him, because if it hits here, it's going to bounce, whereas in a 140, it's more than likely it's going to go through. You just need to make sure that you're always on the ball with aiming against these things, and don't just think, oh, I'm just going to lazy aim and just try and shoot him, because more than likely it's going to bounce. The armor is very nice on this thing. Very nice indeed. Oh, this is with heat, sorry. There you go. Very nice on this thing. You can see, moving around at high speeds, you do really seriously have to actually aim. Can't just, blunder shells into it, because you're more than likely going to bounce like half of them. However, where I would actually say that this tank is slightly worse than the 140 is the turret. The cupolas are very prominent. It does have, at the very top of the turret, if you're slightly above it, an overmatchable portion that's only 20mm thick. Obviously, when it comes to arty as well, that is shocking, really painful. And also, the turret generally at the front is quite weak as well. You've got to think, in competitive modes where most people are firing heat, this thing's turret, as long as you aim near the gun, you're going to go through more than 50% of the time. And even with standard rounds, 50% of the time, if not more, especially if he's angled a slight bit, you can actually go through this turret, which is, in my opinion, the turret is worse than the 140. So hold down, you're not actually as good as a 140. I mean, it's still not easy to go through, but it's honestly not as hard. So that's why I say, when people say the 907 is blatantly better, it's not blatantly better. It's slightly better. It's slightly better DPM, but it loses a bit of that for the fact that its accuracy is worse. It's got the 5 degrees of gun depression, not as good as the 6. Where it overtakes slightly is the mobility is very slightly better, and the armor is very slightly better, but not as good as people think, because yes, the hull is a lot better, but the turret is a little bit worse, so overall I'd say it's only a little bit better. So it's something you have got to consider. Before everyone goes off saying, oh my god, Max, you're saying that the 907 is not as good as the 140. No, the 907 is better. I want to clarify that. The 907 is better. I am aware, I'm not stupid. But the thing that I want to get in people's heads is the 907 is not that much better. You've just got to think about it. And the one comment that I always make every time someone asks me about, oh, do you think the 907 is OP? This applies to anything, like the 907, the Chieftain, anything like that. The people who have these tanks are the good players in the game. They are like the top 10% of players, top 5% of players. The comment I always make is whether that player was in a 907 or a 140, they were probably going to kill you anyway. It doesn't matter about the tank. Yes, this tank maybe bounces more, maybe gets into position a little bit faster, but 9 times out of 10, whether they were in a 907 or a 140, they were going to kill you anyway. So just chill on the complaining about them. It's not that much better, and so I think I'm a good authority on this, given that I've played over 600 games in the 907 and I think over about 400 in the 140. I do know what I'm talking about occasionally from time to time. Anyway, let's jump back into the garage and we will go there. I'll give you my opinion on this tank, although I'm pretty sure you already know it, and yeah. So, there we go, guys. That is the Object 907 in a nutshell. Like I said, this tank, in my opinion, is one of the best all-rounders in the game. One of the biggest downsides is that gun depression, the lack of gun depression being only 5 degrees, which is not that fun, but still can't be helped. Other than that, all-round, amazing, amazing tank. As you can see, I've got improved equipment. I run premium consumables and a directive, so I don't play this tank to make credits. In fact, I probably lose about 50,000 credits a game in this thing, but I still absolutely love it. Like I said, we'll get onto the gameplay in just a second, but just to prove the point, I've played 647 games in the 907 and 439 in the 140. And I do kind of know what I'm talking about when I say the 907 is better, but not massively. So it's still not impenetrable. It's still not going to 100% own you. You just need to think about it. Play as if you're playing against a 140, but just adjust a tiny bit, and you will still be fine. And if he beats you, more than likely, he was probably going to beat you anyway in that particular duel. But yeah, if you can pick up a 907, you're doing yourself a favour. It is an awesome, awesome tank, and you're bound to have a lot of fun in it. And yeah, on that, let's go jump into the replays. There being 2. The first one I will do... Ooh, which one shall I do first? First one will be against tier 10s. Second one will be against tier 8s, just so you guys can see what is what. So, here we go, guys. First game in. And like I said, I'm going to be showing you one game that is full tier 10s, and one game that has got tier 8s in it. So, what this thing can do in a top tier matchup, and what this thing can do in when you're same tier as everyone else in the worst possible matchup. So, we are on Erlenberg. It is standard battle. I've decided to be quite ballsy on my 907 and come across the river at the start, which usually wouldn't be too bad, but none of my team have actually joined me over here, so I'm going to be very much alone. Like I said, this is not the best gameplay I've ever had in the Object 907. I just wanted to get some gameplay together that showed what it was all about, and meant that I could actually get you guys a video up of the 907 before the campaign. So, 277, first things first, I bounced off him, he bounced off me, he bounced off me a second time. Like I said, this armour is quite trollish. You've got to aim your shots. You can't just sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to auto-aim straight through. This time, he does put one into me. That was a terrible shot by me there. And then, obviously, the second one hits him in the gun, which actually puts me a shot down on this guy, which I could have saved myself probably a shell's worth of damage here, but you can just see the DPM now is just absolutely ridiculous. I can fire, I think, 3 times for every time this guy fires. Obviously, if I'd have actually hit more shots earlier on in the engagement, I would have saved myself that 500 hit points. So far, not been amazing, not going to lie. I mean, 1600 damage is not too shabby, but we're on 527 hit points. Who put that wreck there? Oh yeah, that was me. Now we're going to try and reverse side scrape and engage this Object 140 and AMX 50B. Put a nice one into the 140. You see me here switching between APCR and heat. Quite a lot. I used heat against the 277, and now I'm using APCR against the 50B and the 140. I prefer the APCR as in like its, you know, its characteristics in terms of shell velocity, but then obviously he has got that pen against the flat targets. You saw there the 140. I believe he even managed to pen me. Yeah, there you go. Slap bang through the cupola, which is not ideal. And now I can't really do a lot against those guys because, well, I'm blocked by my ST2 and E100 friend. Our team, fortunately, has completely taken our side of the map and is now rolling through. But you can see, even in this tank is a brawler. It just 100% is a brawler. And oh god, this 13105 looks like he's got. He's gonna come try and get me. And I hate to say it, buddy, but that's not. Probably not the way you're going to want to do it. I'm really confused as to what this 13105 was doing. He was kind of like, he looked like he was coming towards us, and then didn't, and then kind of, well, just died, really. So, yeah, get him out of the game. Don't mind if I do. And there's already only 5 tanks left on the enemy team. Both these games are really quick that you're going to see. But like I said, if you want to see a lot closer, a lot tenser game, I will. Future Max, please remember to put this link in the description because I've referred to it about 6 times, and if you don't, you just crap, really, which I'll probably forget, but I will try and remember to put the link to it, my 907 other 907 game in the description. Coming up, Centurion trying to run away. Oh no, you don't. You can just see the rate of fire on this thing is absolutely ridiculous. You can get, if you're firing at someone who isn't aiming at you, even if they're in a medium tank, you can usually squeeze 2 shots in before they actually even manage to shoot you. I'm kind of making a mistake here. I load heat. I should have kept the APCR, but fortunately for me, I do manage to find one in between the I-7 spaced armor. And that's all she wrote for that game. Pretty quick game. We did 5,000 damage, 1,459 assisted. I'm not actually going to show you the post-game stats of this game because you can see it all in the bottom left-hand corner. 3 kills, 5,000 damage, 1,400 assisted, 2,500 blocked with armor, all in a very short space of time. And it just shows you that even against other tier 10s, you just need to be confident in the I was going to say 140 then. This does apply to the 140 as well. You need to be confident in the fact that you can shoot someone and then shoot them again. And then sometimes, if they're a tank destroyer or a heavy tank with a particular long reload, like the IS-7 or something, sometimes even shoot them again before they reload. And you need to know your reloads and know the reloads of enemy tanks, and it honestly allows you to put like 3 shots in for sometimes taking one in return, and even then that one shot bounces, so you can just smash massive amounts of damage out really quickly. As you saw this game, it's not even 5 minutes into this game yet, it's only just what, 4 minutes and 20 seconds, not even that, and I did 5,000 damage. And it's not even like it was I did all the damage. My team massively just ploughed through the enemy team. If the game would have lasted longer, I could have probably done a bit more if I'd have got up here a bit earlier into the I-7, the Centurion, stuff like that. But, yeah. Right, let's move on to the next game, which I believe, if my memory serves me correct, is on Paris, and it's against Tier 8s. So, here we go, guys, into the second game. And this is pretty much a dream matchup for the 907. 3 tier 10s, one of which is artillery, and we're on a city map. No tier 10 heavies, although sometimes it is nice to have a tier 10 heavy like a mouse or an E100 just to give you a bit of hit points. 5 tier 9s, 7 tier 8s. Oh, this is going to be good. However, you have got to play quite aggressively being one of the top tier tanks, because if your team stomps, you don't want to get kind of left behind. Not that that happens in 907, because obviously you're a medium tank, but still, you don't want to be left behind. So, I'm taking a very aggressive position here. We are on Paris, and you can see this T-54, not done amazingly here. And we just absolutely rinse 2 shells into him. I think my reload in this thing is sub 5 seconds. That was a really poor trade by me. But we can get up now, start punishing this Centurion Action 10. We spot him. Our guys in the middle obviously are shooting him as well. I put 2 in. I can stay hold down. He tries to put 1 into me and just bounces and gets absolutely annihilated. Try and side scrape. I think this game actually was even quicker than the previous game. So, you know, pay attention to what's happening because it's soon going to be over. Put 1 in. APCR tracked him. Didn't really get a shot in. Put a second one in. Turn around before he dies. Cool guys don't watch explosions. Try and get one into Prosciutto. Unfortunately for me, the shell bounces. Look towards the mid. TVP, probably one of the most important tanks to take out. Tier 10 medium tank. Put one in. And he fires on the move at me. Terrible idea. Put a second one in. And then leave him to do whatever he wants to do. Get killed by an SU-130 PM. We've all been there, mate. I feel for you. Lurva, Mr. Lurva, go for the tracks. So any damage that's also done to him is also my assisted. Put another one into the tracks. Can we get the kill? Can we finish him off? 1, 2, 3, bang. Like I said, a FUB 5 FFV5, a sub 5 second reload is absolutely insane. One into the WZ's tracks as he was running away. Don't quite get the second one in, unfortunately. It's already 9-0 in this game. Absolutely ridiculously fast game. There's WZ again, fire on the move, and again only take his tracks off. I probably could have done it a bit more damage this game if I wouldn't have hit so many tracks. Around the corner, Charioteer puts one into me. I really don't care. I put one in. Put a second in. The Udez puts one into me. Again, I'm on low health, but I'm not really too bothered. Put one in. Fall back, so he's got a really difficult shot. Can't hit my lower plate. Bounces off my upper plate. Put one in. Put two in. And that was a sub 3-minute game. That game lasted 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And even in that time, I still managed to do 4.7k damage, 2k assisted, and get 4 kills. 15-0 as well. Not too shabby, but it kind of... I had the role in that game that is needed of a top tier medium tank or heavy tank in that kind of a matchup. I pushed the tempo of the game. I didn't let the enemies get into, like, you know, the T-54 to get down here, the Action 10 to get up, anything like that. Because if they would have, that would have obviously slowed this side of the map down much more. We then wouldn't have flanked round. And we would have probably still won, because 15-0 is a very convincing score. But it probably would have been more like, you know, 15-5, and the game would have taken 5 or 6 minutes. Not less than 3 and a 15-0. Absolutely ridiculous. I actually ran out of AP rounds there. I take roughly 50-50. It's something that I also encourage everyone to do in this tank. Especially when you're playing clan wars and stuff. Don't take exclusively heat. Because there's a lot of positions that I know that I used to play that when you get to a position early and you're firing at people going across your gun, and they're obviously side on, and heat doesn't do incredibly well into the side of tanks, and also the shell velocity. When you have bits where people are crossing gaps and you need the shell velocity to be able to hit them in time. So I take roughly 50-50 in this tank. When I'm doing clan wars and stuff like that, more probably 25% AP, 75% heat. But again, it's one of these tanks that I'm not trying to make credits in the tank. I'm trying to do well in the tank. And these last two games have shown you just what this thing is capable of. It's absolutely ridiculous. Really, really good brawler. Even against other tier 10s, it's amazing at brawling. If you want to see a much better game, much more technical, higher damage, everything like that, go through and check the link. I'm, again, not going to show you the post-game stats in this. I just feel like it's a waste of your time. 4.7k damage, 2k spotting, 4 kills, 2 minutes 50 game. What more do you want? And yeah, so if you have found this video useful in any way, guys, please consider giving the video a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Oh, one thing I forgot. I recommend you get a 907 if you finish in the top 8,000 in the next campaign. Definitely worth it if you didn't get that already. And anyway, other than that, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.